The Princess's Clothes. Once upon a time, in a faraway town called Crawley, there lived a beautiful princess. She wasn't really a princess. That just happened to be what her father called her. "Come and give your daddy a cuddle, princess," he would say. His princess would then rise gracefully from her embroidered cushion, throw the picture book that she was reading into the fire, and go and sit on his lap. As he gently combed her shining red ringlets, the princess would smile sweetly, flutter her pretty little eyelashes, and purr, "I do love you, Daddy." "And I love you, princess," he'd reply. It was generally at about this point that the royal goldfish would turn its face to the wall for fear of being sick. One day, a strange visitor came to the house. She had a long, hard face, a mouth that looked as if she had a bad smell under her nose, and a pointy chin with 3 black hairs on the end. She was dressed completely in black, and under her arm she clutched a large crocodile skin briefcase. "Felicity," for this was the princess's real name. "Felicity, this is Miss Shears," said Felicity's mother. "She looks like a wicked witch," said Felicity, who always said the first thing that came into her head. "Well, she's not. Are you, Miss Shears?" "Oh, dear me, no," said Miss Shears in a tiny bird-like voice. "I'm not a wicked witch at all." "Miss Shears is from the catalogue showroom. She's brought me pictures for you to look at." "Don't like pictures," sulked Felicity. "Well, you'll like these," said her mother. "Miss Shears has brought them round especially. I want you to choose some new clothes." "But Daddy always buys my clothes," screamed Felicity, burying her head in a cushion and bowling horribly until her tears made the pattern run on the sofa. It was true. Ever since Felicity's mother could remember, she had never been allowed to choose her daughter's clothes. Once a week, every Saturday morning, the king and his princess would climb aboard their royal coach, ride into the centre of London, and spend all day browsing through the most expensive fashion houses they could find. Felicity's wardrobe was a sight for sore eyes. Pretty lace dresses embroidered with the wings of 1,000 butterflies. Pink taffeted ball gowns with mother-of-pearl buttons. Cashmere sweaters and matching silk head scarves. Cotton pajamas with silver twist waistbands. And knockabout dungarees made from the finest hand-spun gold thread. She had 200 pairs of shoes. Dancing shoes, party shoes, school shoes, knee-length boots, ankle boots, high heels, low heels, sandals, slippers, slip-ons, slip-offs, sling-backs, trainers, and flip-flops. And a collection of overcoats, capes and ponchos that will make your eyes stick out in stocks. And a collection of overcoats, capes and ponchos that will make your eyes stick out in stocks. She had the biggest and best collection of clothes in England. There had been articles written about her in Vogue and Harper's and Queen, and she had even appeared on television once, modelling a particularly beautiful tracksuit made out of dried rose petals and peanut shells. Of course, paying all this attention to her clothes did not make Felicity the easiest of little girls to live with. She was never satisfied with what she had. She always wanted more. Why have 1 pair of suede gloves when 25 would do? She picked and fussed her way through her wardrobe for hours every morning. "I will not wear that pink flamingo belt with this black skirt. It doesn't match the ivory piping. I need something altogether nicer. Get me that grey moleskin one with the turtle's shell buckle." Her mother despaired. It was unusual for a child to be so obsessed with how she dressed. She had to put a stop to this nonsense once and for all. Miss Shears undid the clasp on her briefcase and pulled out a large pile of magazines. The clasp was made from the head of a rattlesnake, and Felicity thought for a moment that she saw it move. "Now, isn't that pretty, Felicity?" said her mother, pointing to a patchwork smock on one of the brochures. "You'd look lovely in that." "Shan't wear it," said Felicity. or this denim dress. They're quite the rage now," added Miss Shears. Felicity was already in a rage. "I don't like it. I don't like any of them. I only like pretty things from pretty expensive shops that I can choose." "In that case," said her mother, "I shall choose for you." Felicity jumped off the sofa, knocked a lamp off the occasional table, and stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind her. Miss Shears sat with Felicity's mother for the rest of the morning. They looked at every picture on every page in every magazine, and come lunchtime, they had drawn up a long list of new clothes for Felicity. "Goodbye, Felicity," called Miss Shears from the foot of the stairs as she prepared to leave. "See you very soon." Then she put on her black mackintosh and went out into the street. Felicity was watching from an upstairs window. She heard Miss Shears call up to her. She heard Miss Shears say thank you to her mother. She even heard Miss Shears shut the front door behind her. But when she looked to see Miss Shears leaving through the garden gate, Miss Shears wasn't there. She had vanished. Felicity wouldn't talk to her mother for the next few days. When the parcel arrived from Miss Shears, she went and hid in the garden shed. "I'd rather live with spiders and beetles than live with you," she cursed. "I hate those clothes. I hate them. They make me look all fat and frumpy." "You haven't even seen them yet," said her mother. "Come inside and try them on." Felicity refused to budge. She stayed in the garden shed until she fell asleep, when her father broke the window, unlocked the door, and carried her upstairs to bed. In the morning, there was trouble. She woke up to find that her mother had completely rearranged her wardrobe. Gone were all her expensive designer clothes. They had been put in a top cupboard where she couldn't reach them. In their place were the most revolting-looking things that Felicity had ever seen, and her mother was going to make her wear them. "I don't like blue. I don't like green. And I certainly don't like turquoise," she sobbed. In fact, she didn't like the colour of any of her new clothes. "You will go to school with no clothes on at all in a minute," said her mother. "All right," she screamed, her little face turning purple with fury. "Then I will. See if I care." All her mother wanted was for Felicity to wear a pair of open-toed sandals with a blue Fab Girl miniskirt. "Sandals are horrible," she bellowed. "I want to wear my Wellington boots." "It is summer, Felicity. Wellington boots will make your feet hot and sticky," said her mother as calmly as she could. "I want my feet to be hot and sticky," replied Felicity. "They're my feet, and I can do what I like with them." "Then do it," said her mother, who had had enough, and so she did. Felicity changed completely and came downstairs wearing a passion pink dressing gown, a flowery bath towel covered in bumblebees, held up by the shower attachment from the bath, 3 pairs of white bubbly socks, red Wellington boots, her father's old fishing hat, and a fur coat that her mother had missed when she had put all of Felicity's old clothes away. "This is what I want to wear," said Felicity, and she rushed out of the house to catch the school bus. "Oh dear," said her father. "Wouldn't it be easier simply to throw her new clothes away?" "No, it would not," said her mother. "But she's my princess, and princesses are allowed to do what they want." "She is a spoiled little madam," said her mother, "and she'll learn to do as she's told." Felicity had a miserable day at school. Her choice of clothes had been a bad one. The fur coat itched, the Wellington boots made her feet so hot that she thought she was melting. And worst of all, children kept buzzing around her flowery bath towel, then coming up and sniffing the petals. Her mother had been right, of course. Her mother always was, but Felicity was not going to let her know that. Instead, she resolved to get rid of her new clothes that night. As the clock struck 11:30, Felicity opened her eyes. The room was pitch black. She lay in bed for a moment, letting her eyes adjust to the light, and running over the plan in her head. She would find the wrapping paper which the clothes had arrived in, repack the clothes, and post them back to Miss Shears. That horrible Miss Shears who had been the cause of all her misfortune. Felicity slipped quietly out of bed and tiptoed over to her wardrobe. Slowly, she eased open the door, fearful lest the clothes should see what she was doing and call out. Good, they were all asleep. She went over to the waste paper bin and pulled out the crumbled brown paper. As she laid it on her carpet and smoothed it out, something dropped to the floor. Felicity bent down and picked up a small black parcel which had the words, "Only to be opened by a princess," printed on it. She tore open the paper and found to her surprise a tiny pair of silver sewing scissors. Attached to the handle was a note. "I have been sent by someone who would like me to look after you. So treat me well for all your days. If not, I'll make you mend your ways." What a strange present, thought Felicity. Who could possibly have sent it to her? She would probably have gone back to bed there and then to puzzle it out, if a second, more devious plan had not suddenly sprung into her mind. She pulled a patchwork smock out of the wardrobe, took the silver sewing scissors in her right hand, and very slowly made a tiny snip in the sleeve. It was easy. The scissors cut through the material as if by magic. She cut again, faster this time, and the sleeve fell away onto the floor. Felicity was starting to enjoy herself. She pulled out more and more clothes. The scissors slashed through everything. They were cutting by themselves now, ripping and tearing, shredding and snapping, until Felicity was surrounded by an enormous pile of rags that touched the ceiling. "That'll teach that horrible old witch Miss Shears," she laughed. "Now my mother will have to let me wear my old clothes." Then it happened. The scissors twisted into her hand and leapt out of her grasp. "No!" shouted Felicity, but it was too late. The scissors had reached the top cupboard where all the princess's clothes were stacked. She was helpless as the flashing blades tore her beloved clothes to shreds. The bedroom became a whirlwind of silk, velvet, sequins, and satin, which sucked Felicity into its center and sent her spinning across the floor. That was when she saw the face at the window. It was only there for a minute, but there was no mistaking the long, hard face, the mouth that curled at the edges, and the pointy chin with 3 black hairs on the end. It was Miss Shears, sitting on a broomstick. When her parents came into her room the following morning, they found Felicity's window wide open. Her wardrobe was empty. The clothes had all disappeared from the floor. Felicity was sitting in her bed, wrapped in a blanket. "Princess," said her father, "what has happened?" "I'm not a princess," said Felicity. "I'm Felicity, and I haven't got any clothes to wear." "Oh dear," said her mother. "Oh, sorry," said her father. "Oh, blast," said Felicity. From that day on, Felicity went to school dressed in a blanket and nothing else.